Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a TBR for August 2022. If you're interested in seeing what books I'm planning on reading in August, please stick around. So as I said in my introduction, this video is going to be my TBR for August 2022. I'm so excited to film this video. I didn't film a TBR for July, and so I'm excited to kind of get back into that. I read a lot of books in July that were very summery, took place in summer, had summer in the title, which was a lot of fun. And I am hoping that some of that flows into August for me. I just finished filming my July reading recap video actually, and I finished that video off with talking about The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is the book I'm currently reading. I'm filming this on July 29th, so I'm only 80 pages into this book. I do have a chunk of it still left to read, but I think I will be able to finish this before the end of July. But this book is a series and I'm enjoying the first book. I want to read the whole series, and I do actually already own the whole series. So for my August TBR, the next two books, or the last two books in the series, which are It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have Summer, are definitely in my TBR. I definitely want to get to these two books. I want to finish out this series in August. It's a summer related series. In the first book, we find out that the main character loves summer because she goes to a beach house every summer. And so I'm assuming the next two books take place in the two summers after the first book. And so I definitely think they're what I should be reading in August. So I'm really excited to get to these two in the month of August and finish out this series. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm also planning on watching the show on Amazon Prime. That's kind of what spurred me wanting to read the books because I saw it was made into a series and I want to watch the series. So excited to finish off that series. The other book that I wanted to talk about that's kind of sort of a series is It Happened One Summer. So I read this in July. I really enjoyed it. It was the only book I gave 5 stars in July. I needed this book to be good. And it was. I picked this up after I DNF'd a book. It was the first book I DNF'd this year. And so I was praying this was going to be good. And it was. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. And a couple people have told me that there is a second book. It's not about the same main character, but it's about her sister, who is a character in this story. So I definitely want to pick up that second book. I don't know what it's called. That's a lie. It's in the back of the book here. Hang on. It's called, am I going to get to it? Okay. It says, keep an eye out for Hannah's story, Hook, Line, and Sinker. So I want to pick up Hook, Line, and Sinker. I want to read that this month because I really enjoyed this. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I don't have Hook, Line, and Sinker right now, I'm going to finish The Summer I Turned Pretty. I'm going to do the second book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series. And then I'm either going to switch over to Hook, Line, and Sinker, or if I want to just finish out the this series, We'll Always Have Summer, then I'm going to do that and then go into Hook, Line, and Sinker. But I definitely want these books to kind of be what I first get to in August. So gonna read the 2 books in the Summer I Turned Pretty series, going to read Hook, Line, and Sinker to get the rest of Hannah's story. And then after that, I want to get to my August book for my Instagram challenge. I talk a lot about my Instagram challenge. I basically went onto Instagram and posted in my stories that I wanted some book recommendations. And so for every month in 2022, I have a book that I'm going to read that was recommended to me by someone on Instagram. And I do have a spread in my reading journal. I'm obsessed with my reading journal, everyone. And I was actually debating doing a flip through of my reading journal like at the mid-year point, and I just never got around to it. And so if that's something that you all are interested in seeing, even though we're in August now, like I could flip from when I started it in February until June, if you would all like to see that. Let me know in the comments because, yeah. So this is my Instagram challenge spread, and basically there's a box for every month, and I put in what book was recommended and who it was recommended by. So I've been so looking forward to August because Delilah's Happy Life recommended this book, which I've never heard of. It's a young adult book. It's in Reese's Young Adult Book Club, and it's called A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. I love the title. I love the cover. I am a Cuban girl. I am Cuban, so I love seeing a book that has a Cuban main character. And I am just very excited to get to this and read this, and I'm so happy that Delilah recommended this because I don't know that I would have ever known it existed. So this is definitely the book I want to get to after finishing the Summer I Turned Pretty series and reading Hook, Line, and Sinker. Very excited to get to that book. Then I have 3 books that I want to get to. I don't know what order I want to read them in. I think I've probably mentioned a couple of these before, but one of them is Finlay Donovan is Killing It. I think I've mentioned this before. I've had it for at least the last few months. It keeps like drawing my eye, but for some reason I just haven't started it. I haven't read a lot of murder or thriller style books, but the ones that I have read, I've really enjoyed. So I want to read this. I want to enjoy it. I don't know if it's because it's like summer that like I'm not necessarily feeling like the pull to like murder mysteries or something like that, but I'm hoping to get to this. I'm hoping I'm motivated to get to this month. We'll say it that way. The next book that I want to read is by Sophie Kinsella. I love Sophie Kinsella. I used to read her books all the time. I loved her Shopaholic series. I read a ton of her standalone books. She also writes under the name Madeline Wickham. I have a ton of Madeline Wickham books, and I haven't read any of them. I think my sister's read a couple of the Madeline Wickham books, and she loves them too. I know I would love them. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I've had this book for a couple months, and I actually purchased it more recently. I purchased it after reading I Owe You One, which was the first Sophie Kinsella book I had read in a while, in years, and I liked I Owe You One. Last month in July, I read Finding Audrey, which I really, really enjoyed. I gave that 4.5 stars. So I picked this one up. I don't know where it takes place, but based on the cover, I feel like it takes place either in maybe Italy or Monaco, maybe the south of France. Doesn't really look like it would be Greece, but you never know. And it's called Love Your Life. Look at that cover. Like, see like the cosa? That's like where I'm like trying to figure out where the book is taking place. Excuse me. I never read back covers. I kind of like to go into books blind. When I go to the bookstore, I basically see a cover that I like. I look up the book on my phone. I see what the ratings are, like the Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, Target ratings, the ones that just pop right up. And I base if I'm going to get it off of that. So don't know what this is about or where it actually takes place. I'm just guessing, but I definitely want to read another Sophie Kinsella. So, and then the last book that I have for my TBR for August 2022 is a Colleen Hoover book. I've definitely read, at this point, several Colleen Hoover books. I read Reminders of Him in July, and it was not exactly my cup of tea. I gave it 3.5 stars. I didn't hate it. I didn't mind that I read it. It just wasn't a favorite of mine. My favorite Colleen Hoover is hands down Ugly Love. That was a 5-star read for me. I really, really liked that book. So I'm curious to get to this one. Again, I have no idea what it's about, but it is called November 9. So I feel like I have tried to be a little bit strategic with the way I've read Colleen Hoover books. Like, I know she has series and stuff like that, and I haven't read any of her books that are a series, but I feel like I had read something online somewhere that said I needed to read like one of the other Colleen Hoover books I've already read. Maybe It Ends With Us, or maybe, yeah, I feel like I read something that said you should read this one before you read November 9 because November 9 has XYZ character in it or something like that. I don't know if that's actually true or not. I could be totally making that up in my brain. But I am curious about November 9. I'm always curious enough about Colleen Hoover books to give them a read. And I actually think the cover is really, really pretty. Like, that is super pretty, you know? So I'm interested to see if I'm gonna like this one, not like this one so much, really not like it. Like, I really didn't like Verity. We'll see what happens, but this is the last book I'm including in my TBR for the month of August. I think I talked about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I talked about 6 books that I physically have, and then Hook, Line, and Sinker, which I don't. So that's 7 total. I read 7 books in July, so I feel like that's a good length of a TBR for me. I am finding that I'm definitely reading less books as the year has gone on, and I think it's not that I'm necessarily getting sick of reading or not enjoying reading. I think it's more so due to a couple of factors. One, the last few months I've definitely stumbled into some books that I didn't love or that were harder for me to get through, and so that definitely was a factor in how much I read. 2, work has just been a little bit more hectic, and so that certainly has taken time away from reading. And then 3, with the weather getting warmer, I'm doing more. I'm going outside more. I'm doing things outside more. I'm, doing day things with my friends on the weekends. And so because of that, I'm reading less. So I think that once the weather starts getting cooler into the fall, I will be picking up in terms of how many books I get to each month. But I feel like there's nothing wrong with reading 5, 6, 7 books in a month. That's pretty legit still for me, especially given that before February, I wasn't reading regularly at all, and I probably hadn't read a book in a year. So that is my TBR for August 2022. Let me know if you've read any of the books that are on my TBR, and you can certainly give me some spoiler-free thoughts about them down below. If you have any recommendations for me, please don't hesitate to put them down below. As always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.